Hi, and welcome to the Vet Dental Show. I'm Brett Beckman, board certified veterinary dentist, and we do this podcast every Wednesday for you, the technicians and veterinarians in general practice, to give you insights and actionable steps that make your dentistry service even better. Welcome to the Vet Dental Show and episode 2 of our amazing interview with Dr. Jodi Reed. I know you're going to enjoy this. And if you've not seen the first episode or listened to the first episode, definitely do that. But it's not inclusive to listen to this one. So enjoy this one. And then you can always go back to episode 1. So enjoy. Could benefit other practitioners from your experience, and you've made it through the veterinary dental practitioner program. You've excelled in everything that you've done in you have had to have had a lot of road bumps along the way. So if you would maybe share that maybe one of the most impactful or some of the most impactful things that you think the veterinarians in general practice, that maybe not even in dentistry, but maybe
Sure.
in other areas that they may encounter that you've experienced and you've been able to overcome.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's such a timely topic because I know as a profession, so many of us are struggling with so many different areas, whether it's being overworked or having too many cases, understaffed. Just the whole dynamic of our profession is having a huge paradigm shift right now, and I think there's lots and lots of adversity that is being overcome, and we're also losing people in our profession to other professions that aren't as emotionally and physically and mentally as draining as veterinary medicine is. I hope that all of us who are in this profession and who got into this because we love animals, but we also love people. And, we want to be able to excel and do everything that we can, but we also want to have this work-life balance. And work-life balance, it can mean so many things to so many different people, but it means that you feel like you have some completeness in all areas of your life. And so for me, one of the hardest probably times of my life where it was, adversity, and I won't get into the detail nitty-gritties of it, but I unexpectedly lost my job that I was doing very well at, and I thought that I was going to be able to buy into this practice and be an owner in this practice, and it didn't work out, and it was unexpected, and it was 4 days before Christmas. I was 4 months pregnant, and it rocked my world. And it wasn't because I had done something wrong. It was just unforeseen circumstances that I won't get into, but it was awful. And it took me several months to be able to wrap my brain around it and figure out how I was going to do this and how I was going to get through it. And at that point I had found dentistry, and I had found you, and I had taken your canine and your feline course. So I knew I loved dentistry, and I knew it was something that was going to be a part of my ongoing career. I wasn't necessarily wanting to leave veterinary medicine, but it crossed my mind at that point. And I think I really had to sit down and do some major soul searching and figure out what it was that I wanted. I did end up landing another job because I did have a no-compete at that point. Obviously, I was 4 months pregnant, so I had a baby that was on the way, and I just had to really get my life together. So I went and worked for another practice. And I just over time, and they were good to me, and they took good care of me, and they practiced good medicine. But I just found at that point that I think I was on eggshells, having been in a position where I lost a job that was of no fault and no control of my own. And I remember going to my husband going, I've either got to start my own business or I've got to find something else to do in veterinary medicine besides being an associate. I feel vulnerable. I feel scared. I feel like I don't have control over it. And so for me, having the support of my husband and friends and family that were close to me to sit down and really work through what is the best next step for me? And my best next step was to start and open a practice. And luckily, again, you had taught me some really great foundations, and I knew that I was going to love dentistry, and I was already starting to get pretty decent at it because of the education I was getting. But for me, being able to have the ability to open my own practice and start that was the next step in my journey. And for other people, the next step is going to be to specialize in something or to find another area of veterinary medicine. And for other people, unfortunately, it makes me sad, but it's going to be to find another path outside of veterinary medicine. And so finding whatever it is that is going to fulfill you and give you the security is the best thing that happened. But the reason why I was able to do it is because I had people in my life who could support me and who could talk me through it, and to really sit down and soul search and figure out what is it that I want as a human being, but in my career and in my family life, and to be able to go through that process and sit down and soul search. And I took time. I mean, I took a couple of months to really sit down and figure out what it was that I wanted from life. And now I have the best of all the worlds. I still get to do my general practice. I get to do dentistry to really high levels, especially when I get to sit next to you and you're doing major specialty cases, and I'm by your side and starting to really push my envelope and do things. You're still doing all the root canals. You're still doing all the really major stuff, which you should be as the boarded dentist, but I'm still getting to do really cool things. I get to travel more now because I made it a priority in my life. And so sitting down and taking inventory and being able to do those things really helped me. But I think one of the most favorite thing that I get to do by your side is educate other veterinarians, and to be able to provide not only support in veterinary dentistry and to improve their skills, but personal support, and being able to get on the phone or get on Messenger or get on Facebook and support people when they are having struggles, because I've had major struggles in my life, but being able to work through those with the support of somebody who I trusted, who I respected, has been one of the best ways to get through adversity. And I want to be that for the people who are in the VDP program or our students and things like that, just like you have been for so many of your students, including me. And being able to do that for somebody helps me to be able to get through harder times in my life, because when I'm helping others, I'm helping myself. So that's really my journey and how I struggled. And it doesn't mean I don't struggle. Of course I do, but I have better tools now to be able to handle it. And I know that I can ask for help, and I'm safe in asking for help. And I think that's the biggest thing that people need to do, is find it out what it is that they love, what they're passionate about, and figure out ways to do that. And not only be able to ask for help from other people, but to seek out, how do I help other people? Because getting help and giving help is how I think you become a well-rounded, complete person.
Well, that's certainly one of the most impactful stories that I think anyone could share in veterinary medicine or otherwise. And I know a lot of you listeners may unfortunately have had things that were even worse than what Jodi's gone through. And we certainly want to reach out and say that we both have been through a lot of things, and I guess we would consider ourselves wise in that respect, and Jodi's probably a lot wiser than I am in all respects, but we are certainly there to help anyone in veterinary medicine that wants to reach out and just talk. We're happy to do that. That's part of what we do. So you also brought up a really important point that I thought about, and I think this is certainly applicable to everyone. And it's a problem not just in veterinary medicine. But it is definitely a problem in veterinary medicine. Maybe not as much now as it used to be. But it's difficult to do and I'm not even going to say the work-life balance term. I don't believe that's a thing. But you have a great perspective on being able to do whatever it takes to do everything for the business side, of your life and your career side of your life. But at the same time, you have raised three amazing girls. You have an amazing husband, and you find time, despite being one of the busiest persons I have ever seen in my life, to probably be unbusy, if that's even a term, more than you are busy. Though you take a lot of time and a lot of effort to get away and leave the career behind and spend time with your family. And I've never seen anyone do it as well as you. So are there things that you can pass on to the listeners that might help them transition into that type of mindset and maybe get away from that day-to-day, even though it's, you know, at times it's like, we're in practice, and I've been there too, where time goes by and you think, gosh, it's been a year since I've taken a vacation. It's been forever since I've taken a vacation. So maybe help people to get to that point if they're stuck in that, and maybe that probably is contributing to a lot of the problems that we're having in the profession.
Absolutely.
With personal depression and suicide and everything that's so tragic.
Yeah, it really is. And I think, you know, I've been on the brink of that. I've definitely suffered through depression when I went through many years of trying to figure it all out, and when I worked myself to the bone and unnecessary, and I've gotten myself to a point where I'm like, I don't have to work like that. And I agree with you. I hate the term work-life balance. It's a buzz term. To me, my definition of it is that there's going to be times when I work really hard, and there's going to be times when I play really hard. It doesn't mean that every day is going to be 50% fun and 50% work. No, there's months that go through where I am grinding hard, but I always make sure that I have a carrot waiting for me at some point that recharges my batteries. And whether that's, and I haven't always done that, and whether that's a couple of hours of me time, going to a spa, going for a walk, reading a book, just taking time that is just about me and what I want to do, that is where it started. And now for me, it's like, oh, I want to take a couple weeks now. And my kids are getting older, and they're going to start, you know, leaving the house, and I want to eat up every moment that I can with them. And I feel like I worked so hard when they were little that I missed out on so much. And I put myself in a position where I think it all became about building a team around me. And I know that is so much harder to do now than it was, you know, even a few years ago before COVID, because of staffing shortages and whatnot. But find a way to build a team that you support each other, that you work together to give each other what you need and the times you need. And you know, the veterinarians that work for me and the team that work for me, if they need time, I'm happy to give them time. If their sweet spot is working 2 days a week and that's what they can do because they have other things going on, great, come work with me 2 days a week. I try to be very flexible, and I wasn't always this way, but I try to be very flexible. And what does that look like for you? And, you know, so being able to balance doesn't mean everything's going to be perfect every day, but it means you have to find time to recharge your batteries. And it looks different for every single person. For me right now, it looks like scuba diving. So I try to find every way that I can to do that, because that's how I recharge my batteries. And it's something that I can do with friends, and it's something that I can do with my family, and we all love it, enjoy it. So finding that thing. And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be hiking. It doesn't have to be expensive. And it doesn't have to be long periods of time away, but you've got to find that, whether it's a little bit every day, whether it's long periods of time, but being able to do that is important. And it is not always just about working, but I grind it, and I still grind, and I still work really, really hard. And I'm that person who I thrive with being busy. I'm a happier person when I feel like I am fulfilling my purpose. But for me, that purpose looks like different things at different times. And sometimes that purpose is in my general practice. Sometimes that purpose is helping to educate other veterinarians in dentistry specifically. Sometimes it's going to get CE that helps me to do better with my own journey. Sometimes it's, reading, and there's all sorts of different things and ways that I fill my cup. And I think I've just been able to sit down and tease that out. And it took me a long time to figure out what is it that does make me happy, that does recharge my battery. And every day is not, kumbaya and perfect. And I have lots of frustrations. I have lots of inconveniences. I have lots of things that challenge me, but I also have lots of joy, and I create that and I make space for it. And that changed my life. And it really did help me with the times where I did feel depressed, or where I felt like I couldn't go on, or where I felt like I didn't want to do this career anymore. I had to sit down and make changes that gave me the strength and the motivation and the ability to do that. And that's a personal journey, and it's one that I encourage everybody to explore on your own. Like, explore what that is for you. You don't have to work 90 hours a week to make everybody else happy. It's okay to do what it is that makes you happy.
Excellent. That is an amazing finish to a wonderful session. I know I don't need to keep you any longer. I'm looking at the clock here right now. I know you've got obligations, but Jodi, thank you so much for being on. Before we close, reaching some pet parents that are in the area where you practice. So tell the audience where you practice and how they can find you.
Yeah, so I practice the general practice that you and I are partnered with, that does exclusively general dentistry for dogs and cats, is here in Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Veterinary Dental Center of Atlanta, and I have other VPs here that support the mission that we have to make animals mouths happy, healthy, and comfortable, and to improve their overall health through dentistry, is right here in Atlanta and Sandy Springs. And then my general practice is in Apex, North Carolina, which is a suburb of Raleigh, where I have multiple amazing, phenomenal veterinarians and a veterinary team there that is bar none. They are so incredibly great at what they do. And I've just built this team of amazing, compassionate, caring, kind, giving vets and vet techs and assistants and resort attendants, and so much in North Carolina, called Harmony Animal Hospital. So love to see you in either one of those states.
Excellent. And I've been to Harmony, and it's amazing what she's done and what her husband Jason have done with that practice. One of the most amazing practices you'll ever visit if you're ever in Apex. I'm sure Jodi will give you a personal tour.
I will. I love it.
Jodi and Jason. So again, Jodi, thank you so much for being here. Amazing things for the audience, and we'll see you guys on the next episode. Thanks again.
For having me.
I trust you enjoyed that episode. We enjoyed providing it. If you would, do us a big favor and go to our iTunes page, post a rating and review, and take a picture of that with your cell phone, and then post it on our Facebook page, and we'll send you the Instrument Use Essentials course. If you also look below, there is a link to 2 live trainings that we do. And one is on radiographic interpretation. The other is on killer tips for quicker extractions. If you have not been to those, register for the one that's coming up next, and the link will be in the show notes on the website, the Vet Dental Show, and we'll get you in and get you a 30-minute, 40-minute overview of those topics that are really insightful and all take home. And then we'll also give you an opportunity to get a great deal and some bonuses on those 2 courses that are online courses that span 5 hours and 7 hours. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully you'll help us out with the post on our Facebook group. And then as a little extra bonus for you, you've got that link down there. You can register if you haven't been to either one of those and enjoy all of that content that we're going to give you on those 2 topics. So Take care. We'll see you next week.